I've never made a YouTube video before, but I've had a lot of free time lately and thought I'd give it a shot as a new hobby. Kind of just want to talk about the things that I'm into, share some of the projects I've been working on. I'm not sure if I'll keep doing these videos, but for now, it's mainly just for me. Kind of like a video diary. It's a place where I can look back and see what I was up to at the time, games I was playing, the things I was reading. And I've never been very good at public speaking. Even talking into the mic is kind of unnerving. And I speak over myself and stumble on my words, but maybe I'll get a little bit better doing this. So I guess I'll start with what I've been working on. My background is game dev. I went to school for it. It's been a hobby I've been doing for the last, I don't know, like six years now. But the beauty of game deving is you're always learning something new. I stumbled across this YouTube video about procedural animations, and it kind of inspired me. I've never tried it before, so I went off and I made something, and I want to show it off. It was a fun little project. I learned a lot. So yeah, here it is. In this demo, I made this octopus creature that snatches fish. When the fish get close to him, he puts out his little tentacles and he grabs the fish and brings them to his mouth. I was inspired by this YouTube video on procedural animations that talked about the basics of making simulated creatures like snakes and fish. If stuff like this interests you, go watch the video. It was really well made, and it was really easy to digest for somebody that's never really worked with something like this before. Coming back to the project, I started out with this snake creature to get the basics of procedural animation. And the idea is to have a series of objects and always having the object behind the object in front follow the one that's in front of it. And it gives this like illusion of spines moving along. And this was cool because I could mess around with the colors and the length, even the distance between the spines. I could make some really interesting looking snakes, I guess. Later in the video, I mentioned before, he goes over the topic of making like legs for creatures and this technique called inverse kinematics. And I won't bore you with the details, but basically the idea is to have a very similar structure to what we did with the spines, but we move the spines towards an object and we move it back to the original object, giving this illusion that the thing is stretching out to grab something. I thought it'd be kind of boring making a creature with legs, so I made this thing. And I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, and I think I'll be doing more of this in the future. This is probably a good time to switch to the other thing I've been doing this month. I entered a game jam, the Brackeys 2025.1 game jam. For those that don't know what a game jam is, basically it's a challenge to make a video game in a short amount of time. This particular jam was only a week long, and it had 2,200 entries, which is quite a lot for a game jam on the larger side. The theme for this game jam was "Nothing can go wrong, ... And I immediately thought of this meme here. So me and the group I was working with, two other guys, an artist and a programmer, were bouncing ideas around. We actually had a hard time deciding what we wanted to do. It took us like 2 days to actually finalize what we wanted to do, which you should really get the concept down in the first day. But we ended up settling for this weird slingshot game. We were running out of ideas. We couldn't think of anything. So we started, and then the other programmer, he ended up having too much work to do at his job. So me and the artist sat down and we talked about what we could do fast with the assets that we have, because he was already creating like shapes and stuff for us. So I pitched the idea that we do something like Tetris, maybe some sort of block game. And this is the game we came up with. And for only having 3 days left, I think we did a really good job. We even handed in early, which we never do. We usually are messing around in the last like 10 minutes of the submission timer. So the objective of the game is to make chains of the same colored blocks, and you get more points for how many blocks are in the chain. And the machine that spits out the blocks continues to get faster and faster until it's overwhelming and you lose. And the loss condition is basically on the left-hand side, there's this bin, and whenever a block falls into the bin, the block becomes like a rock and it turns gray and you can't use it anymore. And if it fills up, you lose. And the way I saw the theme, nothing can go wrong, ... I think implies that something will always go wrong. So the game, there is no way to win. You have to lose. And we wanted to have like a short gameplay loop because, you know, everyone has to try out tons and tons of games and rate them. So it's about 5 minutes before like it becomes unplayable. It gets so fast that you can't make enough matches. In about 2 days, we get to find where we place amongst everybody. There was a lot of good games this jam, so I'm excited to see where we are. So I'm kind of winging this video. I think I want to talk about maybe some of the games I've been playing and then switch to the stuff I've been reading and watching. So one of the games I've been playing this month is Mecha Break. It's out in beta right now. I played it during the alpha, and basically it is a 6v6 team battler. It's kind of like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals. So it has everything you'd expect from those games, like hero skills, move the payload, capture the point. Each of the strikers have their own unique loadouts, skills, weapons. In this beta, they've given us a new extraction mode. A team of 3 go in, you have to loot, do PvE, PvP, and escape with all the loot that you've gotten. Ever since Armored Core, I haven't really found another mecha game that's really scratched that itch like this one. The movement feels really good, the gunplay feels really good, and I can see myself playing this game for a lot longer too. So I can't wait to see what this game looks like on full release. But please nerf the auto beam cannon, this thing is just ridiculous. If you're into extraction games or team shooters, give us a go. It's free on Steam right now, so why not? I've always been into dark fantasy manga like Berserk, Claymore, Vinland Saga. I recently stumbled upon this manga called Centurnia and was instantly hooked from the first chapter. Without spoiling too much, the story follows a young boy named Julian that escapes after killing the abusive blacksmith that his mother sold him off to. To flee that life, he stows away on a slave ship, only to get caught midway through the journey and becomes a slave himself. But despite everything, he does find a belonging among the other captives. He meets a pregnant woman named Mariah, who becomes like a second mother to him and gives him hope for a future. But on the journey, something goes wrong and blood's spilled on the ship. And this draws the attention of this eldritch monster. Amongst all the chaos, the eldritch creature comes face to face with Julian and offers him the power to free himself, but at a horrible cost. And that was a basic summary of the first chapter. I left out some details because I don't want to spoil anything. The first chapter leaves you with this mystery of the eldritch creatures and this curse that Julian now possesses and what he's going to do with his powers. But not only is the story interesting, but the art is amazing. Like when they first show the eldritch creature coming up the boat, it's just pitch black. It's just a creature, and there's this like eerie feeling every time it's on the page. And the mangaka does a great job of making you fall in love with every character that you meet, which is a bit of a blessing and a curse because there's a lot of tragedy in this manga. Found myself rooting for characters that had obvious death flags around them. If this sounds interesting to you, the first chapter is free on Manga Plus. And for the stuff I've been watching, I watched the horror movie The Nun 2. And it stunk. That was a really bad movie. I don't really have much to say about it other than it sucks. Don't watch it. And with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I've never done video editing before, so let me know the things I can improve on. And in the next video, I'll probably talk about the next game jam I'm going to be working on. Godot 4.4, the game engine just released, so I'll probably be playing around with physics. I'm also reading tons of different manga and watching anime and movies, so maybe I'll find something else to talk about. But if you stuck around for this long, thanks, and see ya.